ever since I started coaching, once a month I go online to CrossFit.com and I look and see if there are any CrossFit gyms and cool places looking for coaches. And last month one turned up in Bali and I was like, well, okay. So I applied and we'll see what happens, but I'll find out. I'll send that video this weekend and then find out sometime next week what's going to happen. So it should be interesting.
That's not how you ended up in Aura, is it?
What's that?
That's not how you ended up in Aura, is it?
No, looking for a cool place and here I am. No, that's not how I got here. No, not so much. Okay, let's start out doing some wrist circles. Did we do those the other day? So we'll do wrist circles first. So you're just going to go like this and just rotate. It's a good way to start this early in the morning. Switch directions with those. Also a fun thing to do. I don't know if it's actually fun, but I do it sometimes. So most of us, if you're right-handed, you have your right hand on top just now. Are you left-handed? No? Interesting. Switch and put your other hand on top, and it feels real weird. Just because you never do that way, right? Yeah. I don't know why. It just does. Yeah. Okay, so let's do some arm circles. So we're just going to start arms wide. We're going to circle 5 times forward, small circles, and then medium circles, and then large circles. And then you'll do the same thing backwards. Oh, what other kinds of soreness anybody have going on? I heard about back, chest is a little sore. You did some push-ups. Okay. Anybody feeling their legs at all today? Not too bad? Didn't do too many squats, so shouldn't be too bad. Good. We're going to avoid legs today. We're going to do mostly upper body stuff to kind of get you used to some new movements. Next thing let's go ahead and come down into a lunge. So what I want to do is, I think we went over, maybe we did. We're going to step forward. You want to have a vertical shin here, and then we're going to take our elbow on this side, and we're actually going to reach that elbow down and see if we can get it all the way onto the ground down here. Some of us, that won't happen. Make it up to the stick and bring the other arm inside. Yeah. And let's see if we can get down into this position. You're going to feel a lot of stretch coming into the groin right there. If we can drive this knee outward as we do so, that's ideal. Rafa, John, go ahead and bring your foot further forward for me. We want to have a nice vertical line with that shin. Yeah, and then try and drive that elbow down from there. Don't try and tear anything, trying to get down here so bad. If you don't get down here, that's okay.
Are you going to talk more diet at the end?
Yes, and we'll talk some more about diet. Who didn't get a nutrition diet? I don't know if we got. Oh, you did not? Okay. So switch sides for me.
I just had a hard time getting, not just eating that way, I had a hard time getting enough calories.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. So again, we want this nice vertical shin. We're going to send this leg back. And then try and bring that elbow all the way down inside. You may find that one side is easier than the other or harder than the other. One of our goals is definitely going to be to balance you all out and kind of even out that strength. I've spent, or did spend 10 years as a server in restaurants, always carrying trays on my right side. So when I started doing this, there was a huge disparity in strength, balance, all of that for me from right to left. Which is natural to an extent, but I think for me it was exacerbated by that. So go ahead and come back up. Let's stand. We're going to review or learn the squat for some of us. So what we want to have here, just a reminder, we're always going to start with the feet first. So our feet are going to be right underneath our hips. We're going to take our toes and put our big toe where our little toe was. And then remember, the first thing we want to do is start the movement with our hips. We're going to send our hips back. Stay right, I found anyway. So, I don't know. Okay, so let's all go through that together. We're going to get back into that position. So our feet are underneath our hips. So let's come a little closer there for me. Good. And then we'll bring the bar into this position. We'll get everything tight. We're all going to clear our chin together. And then press straight up overhead. And then come straight back down the way we came. Clear the chin again. So clearing the chin is not necessarily a tilt like this. It's actually a tuck, right? So I'm going to give myself that double chin feeling that nobody really likes to have. But you're going to do that first, and then press straight overhead, stick your head through, and come straight back down the way we came. Good. Elbows should be staying real active, shoulders nice and active and out in front. When we get into this overhead position, we want to be pressed up really active, and we want the bar straight over our head. Good. Let me have everybody turn to the side for me, and I'm going to watch you do a couple. Whichever side, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get, right into that position. Good. Now go ahead and press overhead. Beautiful. Caroline, make sure you stick your head through the window. Yeah. Good. Rafa, let's get our head through so that the bar is straight up and top. So where I want us to be. Feel the difference? And now straight over the top of your head, straight over your butt, straight over your head. Okay, everybody come back down. 3, 2, 1, go. Good, and let's go back up. Good, perfect. Megan, Sean, let's make sure we're looking straight ahead. Even though we're looking through that window, the ground hasn't moved. It's still in the same place. So we're going to pick a spot straight ahead and stare at that. Okay, go ahead and come back down. Perfect. You guys can go ahead and relax. So go ahead and turn back to me. So the next thing we're going to learn is going to be really similar to what we just did, but it's going to allow us to express our hip more and gain more weight and more mobility overhead. Okay, so we're going to do what's called a push press. So the first thing I want everybody to do is you can do whatever with the PVC pipe, and we're just going to do a dip, and it's going to be sort of like an Oompa Loompa, okay? So what we're going to do is hips underneath our feet underneath our hips. Just like you can see the screen, and we'll kind of talk about what goes on. So first thing we do to power it up is just hit menu back. I think you can actually hit any of the buttons to turn on it. It really doesn't matter. 90% of the time, all you'll need to do is hit this button to say just row, and you'll come to this screen right here, and that's kind of all we need to see. If we need to do other things, it gives us some other options. This is obviously a more detailed view. This will give us like a pace boat as we go across, all that kind of stuff. We can change the units so that we work in calories and watts, a bunch of other stuff. But mostly we want to just be up for distance and for time, okay? So first thing is always that we'll talk about a setup. As far as damper setting, we pretty much always leave these between 5 and 6. The lower the number, the easier it is to pull, but the less distance you're going to cover on each pull. The higher the number, the harder the pull will be, but the more distance you can cover. It's just like a bike, right? Just like the gears on a bike. And then foot position, where we want our feet to be, is the ball of your foot should sit right here in the middle of this thicker pad, okay? So for me, that happens to be at a 3. You'll all find out where that spot is for yourself. I'll get my feet in. If I need to loosen the straps, I can, but then I'll strap down once I'm in. So that's what that should look like, okay? And then as far as the setup for the pull, again, we want to be in this nice active position of our back. We don't want to have this rounding thing going. There's no need to try and get the chain all the way into the return. It's going to get a long enough range of motion that you don't really have to worry about that. I'm much more concerned with staying nice and active, keeping our shoulders nice and active and our chest nice and high. So I will pick it up, both hands, I can dig in a little bit, and then as I push away, all legs to start, I'll finish with the arms, I will then return, and then bend, right? If I do that in the wrong order, then I'm going to hit my knees and then try and return, okay? So legs start the movement, arms finish, then arms return, and then legs return, okay? So we'll look at a couple of things as we do that. First, we'll talk about pace and how many strokes per minute. So if I go as fast as I can, I'm doing what, like 38 strokes per minute? But it's going to wear me out pretty fast, right? And I'm not letting it do all of its work. So it's just like a boat on the water. I stroke, and the boat keeps moving even after I finish pulling, right? So if I'm returning too quickly, I'm not getting max efficiency. I'm getting winded real fast, all that. So my pace was what, 127 at 36 strokes? I can cut my stroke rate in half and almost my pace that fast, okay? Which is much more efficient for me. All of this movement is generated from the legs, okay? That finishing pull is really just to finish it off. All I'm trying to do is push away as hard as I can, and I'll show you what that looks like too. So, big push with my legs, and then I finish here, and you'll see my stroke rate is going to be 21, and I'm running about 1:40 on the pace, which is something that I can keep doing much, much longer. Notice on my finish, I lean back pretty far, so long as you get your hip all the way open, so you're not here, but at least to here, there's some room to work with. Other things, we don't want travel here, as much of that as we can avoid as possible. we want to go straight in, straight out, return, back. So as far as cadence, it should take me twice as long to return as it does to pull, okay? So if I come out, it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So go ahead and grab a rower and get it turned on, get your feet set up, and we'll see where we're at.